Merriam. It's just about 7 o'clock on the first Monday of the month. That means it's time for the Merriam Drainage District. In we go. Eric coming?
You should be here.
Not late yet.
Wouldn't be a party without him. All right, I think we're good.
There he is.
Howdy.
Excuse me.
Hello.
Oh, Mac.
So we're chicken festive cookies.
There were. They didn't have any of the.
That was the trip. That's a long plane ride.
Where'd you go?
Germany?
Germany?
Yeah.
Awesome.
They're more festive than the chocolate chip versions.
That's killer.
Yeah, 65-degree highs.
Tell my cousins hi.
Rub it in. Mm-hmm.
Tell all my cousins hello for me.
Oh, no, I did see Kaiser, the big statue.
Did you ever look at the bottom of beer steins, a real, like, people collectible beer steins? My family makes those.
Good.
There's a line called Alwe, A-L-W-E. Some of my, oh, it's my great uncle or whatever, you know, back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at some of those. They're pretty pricey. They're proud of them.
Yeah. Well, you know, all you gotta do is say it's collectible, and then it's worth 4 times what it's really worth. This Quick Trip cup is collectible.
Yeah.
There it is. It's no longer worth 98 cents.
Vintage.
Now it's worth, what, how much is that, $2.50 to fill
Kenny Lee is donated. He's a big baseball,
it? Oh, yeah.
autographed baseball collector. He donated a bunch to the Negro Leagues. Here's an interview he was doing like Sunday morning or something. He had like Christy Matheson and stuff. And he goes, "Oh, I paid a lot for that one." He goes, "I went after that one." He goes, "That one cost me a lot, probably more than it should." But you talk about collectors making on the trail or something.
That's right. I'm not gonna feel bad for Getty Lee and Michelle on a couple bucks.
No.
I paid into his car, it's quite a few.
Yeah. There's somebody there walking off the stage. One of them goes, "You see that?" He goes, "There's eight girls in the front row." One of the other members goes, "Well, that's got to be a record for a Rush concert." He goes, "8 females at a Rush concert. That's got to be a record."
How was your gig?
Good. They gave us a raise and I didn't even know.
Sweet. How many years have you guys done that?
5.
Jason.
And he already told me once this next year.
Sweet.
Your stuff's coming along.
Is it? Yeah, let me know, cause I'll need it for Thursday. We're leaving Thursday morning.
Where you going?
Go to Iowa, over up to Lake Okoboji for a gig. And then Saturday or Friday, we're off, drive to,
Who's we?
me and Jake.
Oh, you're doing
Yeah,
sound?
sound for Big Time Grain in Iowa. And then was an overdose in Gonvick, Minnesota, which is way up there.
Wow.
But luckily I'm halfway there when I'm in Iowa. Then we get a whole day off travel, so it's like 6 hours to Okoboji and 6 hours to Gonigan from there. So I was hoping that stuff would make it a lot easier.
Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow,
So I won't have to make a bunch of cables on Wednesday.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Welcome everybody to the monthly meeting of the Merriam Drainage District of Johnson County. We'll start off with the approval of minutes of June 2nd. Is there any concerns?
I didn't see any.
Okay.
Second.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Oh, yeah, motion, sorry.
Yeah, I moved.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
It's been seconded.
I thought you were making a
Well,
motion.
here, well.
Not you.
I wasn't there. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, see. Passes. Turn it over to Steve.
Alright, so after the last meeting, we were gonna move the groundhog traps, but I learned shortly after that meeting that they had already pulled all the traps. And so I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to have them reset, because that would be another $600 setup fee, or if you just wanted to wait till next year.
I guess I would question why they removed them. We asked them to remove them, or did they just?
No, they typically pull them once the number of groundhog captures go down.
Oh, okay, so they've been sitting just pretty much inactive, yeah.
Yeah, so after a certain period, they'll end up pulling.
What do you think?
I don't know, I still see a lot of groundhogs. But,
Over by your place or?
yeah,
I kinda gave it a drive-by today, and I didn't see any, but that's, the middle of the day when it's 1,000,000 degrees, they're not gonna be out
they kind of come out like late in the day,
early and late.
yeah, dusk.
Can they just set a minimal amount or do they have their?
I don't think there's a set amount. I think it's $600 per setup, but then they check daily, and that's part of that.
2 or 3 or however many. Well,
I don't know, I mean, we can wait a month and see,
I'm not
see
big.
what we see.
Okay.
There's 3 baby ones that, I mean, I can show you what rock they go into usually every day. But Maybe somebody just needs to take some firecrackers.
That was last week.
Keep that up.
Yeah, keep that up.
That was a joke.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Okay, I have received just late this afternoon 2 invoices from Max Ricky, which didn't get forwarded to you because I got them at like 3 p.m. I reached out to them because they're obviously Max Ricky invoices, but they just say work performed through and have a date. They didn't explain which work they were billing for, so I didn't know what number to put that against. Was it for the tree removal, was it for filling holes, or what have you? I did try to text one of them a little bit ago, and I haven't got the response. Max Ricky's always been on the up and up, but since I hadn't received these before the meeting, I didn't go out and check what work had been completed, so that is something I can forward. I don't know, if the board would like to pay them, I can get information for you, Eric, to back them up prior to the check being mailed or something like that, or we can just hold off a month.
Is it a 30-day invoice?
It is, and one of them's already 30 days past due because they emailed it to the wrong employee at Bench. I have no idea how they got this gentleman's email, but Yeah. One of them, the first one was sent to the wrong person and was just sent to me this afternoon along with the second one, so.
Um, If they would like it sooner rather than later, then I can get with Rebecca and sign it. If need be, if not, then we can wait until next meeting.
One of them's, can't see without, I can't see. 875.63.
They're probably gonna want
The big
30
one.
grand.
Yeah, it's 30.
How much?
30,000,
Yeah, I can't do that.
387.94.
Yeah, I can't do that, so it might as well just wait until next meeting.
Okay. That is fine.
No late fees on that 30-day.
And especially since they sent it to the wrong email,
Yeah,
it's not our fault.
it's- Right. No.
And they didn't give you any information on what they were.
So they did provide what they called the backup documentation, which provided the equipment that was used and the labor hours, but it didn't give a location or what they.
Which didn't.
Yes. Good. Yep, so. All right. I will talk to them about that. As far as the core project is concerned, we did have a meeting on the 17th of June. I have not met since then. There won't be another meeting until the 15th of July. They reported at the June meeting that they were about halfway done with the 65% design. They expect those plans to be available in January or February for review. They've also had HNTV working on a bridge report for different options to do at Johnson Drive. So that was supposed to be due later on that week in June. I don't know if I'll see a copy of that or not. I know I'll see a copy of the plans. Yeah, that was about it. It was a pretty short.
So when you say, copy the plans, the overall plans,
The design plans for everything from Shawnee Mission Drive.
You said February 2026.
Correct.
any more on the, what you looked at just around, what was it, north of Camel Park?
So I discussed that at the last meeting. Brought you everything that I provided to the other board members at the last meeting. So, I created that figure. So the image that's overlaid on was from 2006. So you can see, where that drop off is pretty much flat across or straight across. And then each of those yellow lines represents a different year. So I looked at different aerial photos and I was able to trace how that is creeped back. I did provide this same figure to the Corps of Engineers, and they said that they would take a look at everything and see if or how they would address it in the 65% design plans.
So they're gonna entertain addressing it,
So,
and their timeline maybe next year.
okay. So, the 65% plans will be complete and provided for review in February of '26. The 95% plans will be ready and completed for review by the end of '26 or early 2027.
Mm-hmm.
The project probably won't get bid until if everybody moves forward with it until the end of 2027. With construction not starting until sometime in 2020. I don't think this is something, that is an imminent issue, but if the Corps elects not to address it, I would recommend that, we put together a project to address it. It's creeping back, and it's not as big of a concern on the west side as it is on the east, but it's starting to get underneath the wall on the east side.
Where those yellow lines are.
Yeah, it's on the side with the roofing company.
Okay.
So,
Is that something you'll know by the 65%?
yes, I should know what they intend to do by February of next year.
Is this your CIP's?
Yes.
For TV?
No, actually, that I provided at the last meeting.
Oh, okay. This is my copy.
That's your,
Okay.
yeah, that just lists the projects, that had essentially been on hold, waiting for the Corps to work on their design. And then, similar to past years, I created just a quick sheet. The whole capital improvement projects essentially on hold until we know what the Corps is going to do, but I did list the annual maintenance. That's pretty much the same as it was last year.
So, 62.5.
Correct.
Okay.
That's all I had.
All right, so Steve, any questions? All right, we'll move on to Jim.
The first thing I have is, ask the board for approval to go ahead and pay the insurance on the D&O liability policy. Our coverage comes due in August. We could theoretically take it up next month, I guess, but then we cut close. Double check on this,
It's August 9th.
August 9th. The basic premium is $893 with a $75 broker fee and $175 for employment practices coverage without no additional broker fee, so round trip about a little $1,000. Pretty close to what we paid last year. It's certainly not a significant increase. So I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The second thing I had was, at the last meeting, Dan asked about possibility of virtual attendance at meetings by board members and out of town, and say if they're, just can't be there for whatever reason, still have a physical meeting for a long time, the thinking was there's no problem with that as long as you have availability for the public to participate and attend, which we obviously do, and for the other members to attend. There was a quirk that I wanted to check out that had to do with interplay between the Kansas state regulations for open meetings and an old Attorney General's opinion, which is not terribly interesting, but I wanted to check that out. The short version is we can do it. That's the answer. I prepared a resolution. Rebecca, are we going to get that out?
I did send out today.
Okay.
I brought a copy too.
Okay, yeah, I've got that as well. This kind of kills two birds with one stone. It establishes our meetings for the next year, which we should do anyway. And then also provides that if there are unusual circumstances, then a board member can attend by whatever electronic means that the board thinks is appropriate. And it's not intended to be a substitute for showing up. I did not take that to be Dan's intent, but if you got a cold, you don't want to give it to everybody else. You're traveling for whatever reason, and you can take a half an hour long break, and that allows you to participate.
But you don't have to, but you can.
I have to, yeah. I mean, sometimes, we all need time off, but, if you have to be out of town for whatever reason, you have nothing to do at night, if it's a work trip and there's nothing to do at night, as well, attend the board meeting. It just keeps things going and allows for maximum participation of board members, so. There is one caveat I know, and I prepared this based on actually prior resolutions of the board, where we have it published in the legal record. There's a new, newspaper out now that I've not used before, but a colleague of mine tells me it's significantly cheaper, like about half as much. And if you wanted to do that, then it finds the Post, I'm not sure it's the full name, but,
It's the Johnson County.
Johnson County Post is full name, yeah. Again, a friend of mine's a probate lawyer, and they publish notices of estates all the time. He's very sensitive to publication costs, and he said a recent billing got about half of the expected. So it's, we're talking a few $100s, and it's not massive amounts of money, but we could change the resolution to reflect the Johnson County Post if you want to give it a try. I've not priced this with either entity, but that's the only caveat.
I just looked at it before this meeting and they say it's about half the price. The Johnson County Post says it's about half the price.
That's consistent.
And people read that one too.
It's the printed version.
No.
Yeah. Did they not publish?
I don't think so. I was just looking at it. It looked like it was the printed version.
I look at it, first off, I never see anything on the online version, though.
They just
Public
published
notices or anything.
I know there was some hubbub about public notices in Merriam recently, and it might also be nice to publish on the website, like not to substitute the legal requirement.
On our website?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
if there's just a page, I don't know how it's edited, but I mean, if it could be copied and pasted up there.
And so, yeah, that's certainly my recommendation.
Yeah.
But for purposes of statutory compliance, this kind of resolution should be published in a newspaper of general circulation.
Yeah, I don't mind giving that a try, it's cheaper.
I can just substitute that language and email the resolution. If it's your pleasure, I mean, I'm not, you don't have to, if you decide to do it, I'll email the resolution.
Yeah, I mean, we're satisfying our requirements.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, we do, yeah. The resolution with the change to the Johnson.
Do you have a number for that resolution?
I don't, but I'm gonna guess it's 25-1.
Yeah.
Just to take a wild stab at it.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 25-1 and to move it to Johnson County Post for publication. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll put the number in, change the publication source, and I'll leave that to you. And sign it, get it back to Rebecca.
Okay. Yeah, I can electronically do that. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can sign them.
Well, yeah, 'cause we usually just send them copies anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do you
Just
have,
use an auto pen,
do you have
I know
Adobe?
that's the thing.
That's what.
Yeah, but I said it to you at work.
yeah, I can create the Adobe and send it to you for electronic signature.
Okay.
And what about putting it on the website? Do we have somebody that takes care of that? We
Yeah.
just tell them and they do it?
HPG Enterprises. It was someone that Sam Mateer actually worked with
Oh,
a
awesome.
long time ago. So he does all of our updates to the website.
Cool.
And that was unanimously passed, right?
Excellent.
Okay, thank you, Jake. John?
Okay, so, couple of items. We got the notice of assessed valuation for this year, 2026 budget. And so assessed valuation was, $180,185,000, for the, district. a revenue neutral rate for this year would be 1.273, and that would raise the same amount of revenue, $229,000, as was raised for the 2025 budget. Last year's mill levy for 2025 was 1.356 mils. Just for illustration, if you kept the mill levy the same, it would raise another $14,500 in revenue. If you were somewhere in that range, from there. So I guess the question we have to discuss, the one issue that comes up with the way that the tax law works on the revenue neutral rate is you're capped at dollars, of hard dollars. And so while new improvements, you're not able to capture the additional tax on new improvements. So the new improvements go in, everybody else's tax would go down some if you added for whatever new improvements are on there, but you're not able to capture any tax on the new improvements because it's a hard dollar amount from prior years, from the prior year. So that's kind of the only way that it stunts the growth, what could be a natural growth on the revenue because of new improvements. While the new improvements do pay their tax, the overall district is still capped at $229,000. So it's just dispersed differently over there. So if you add that $6 million in new improvements, they're gonna get their tax, but overall, there's still only $229,000 being assessed throughout the entire district. So there's no growth or anything for inflation that's factored into that revenue neutral rate at all, or for capturing property owners with new improvements. They're gonna, I don't wanna say it on there, they're gonna pay the tax, but the district is not gonna benefit from overall from the new improvements when we're capped at the revenue neutral rate. So that would be the discussion. Budgetarily wise, there's, without having to do the project that we have in the past couple of years, we've got sufficient carryover to do that. So there's not a budget need, so that way, a critical need to do that for this year to meet what our budget is. But if these projects come about down the road that are on there, we may need at some point some additional revenues to come in to do that. So it's either a thought consideration to increase what that mill levy rate is over the revenue neutral, or maintain where we're at.
Okay, so I got a question, includes Steve. So the check that's coming due here from Max, you said it was for 30. Is that area C or G?
No,
That's
no,
separate.
separate, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay, that one kind of just came about
Correct.
when you bought, or,
So,
We encumbered that amount last year at the end of 2024, so we have that money encumbered at the end of 2024 as part of the 2024 budget.
yeah, Max Ricky is invoicing us for tree clearing from Shawnee Mission Parkway
Okay.
to the farmer's market for filling holes in that stretch, and then there's
Right.
that stretch of wall just no farmer's market.
Okay.
So none of those.
none of these, okay. So, John, with our carryover and potential carryover this year, we would have enough to satisfy these three priorities.
Yeah, what are the totals on those?
The total would be,
Cumulative total would be 215,000 on those.
okay, I see, I did that, yeah, 250.
15. We've got over here, if you look, projected, over here, we have about $426,000 in availability in the 26 budget for channel maintenance is what I've got plugged in from the carryover from the prior
You said
years.
400?
Yeah. So there's sufficient dollars that are in there to cover that.
Now, the repair here could range anywhere from 250 to 350,000.
Right, but at the same time, the Corps is entertaining.
Correct.
Absorbing that.
Correct. Yeah, as a worst case, if the Corps was not to do this, and is using John's number there, we could still complete this project plus a couple of the other smaller projects from the old CIP.
Okay. Well, I kinda like that idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
Okay, sounds like we wanna be diligent with the RV.
Okay. Okay.
Are you gonna make a motion for that?
Do we do that now or next month?
We'll approve the budget stuff next month, but what would be good to have just for the record is that you're, not going to exceed the R&R rate, because you do have to notify the county prior to the budget hearing,
Okay.
whether or not the R&R rate would be exceeded, or not. So while we're not approving the budget, what you do is just motion that we will not exceed the, revenue neutral rate for this, budget.
Okay. I'll make a motion that the board doesn't exceed the revenue neutral rate for 26.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, with that, I'll prepare the budget notice for publication. If we switched our official publication to the Johnson County Sun, or Johnson County Post, whatever it is, I'm still going back to old days.
Showed your age there.
It shows how old I am, yeah.
Billy, still there?
Yeah, out there on the highway, yeah.
I'm still willing to try.
The only thing I will say on here is because this is time sensitive, and I don't know how the, Joco Post works on getting their I'd have to do some research on there to figure out what their timing frame and stuff like that is. The legal record's a known entity, and I think it's only $14 or something like that to publish the deal. I just don't wanna miss something.
I'm on the legal records emailing list, and I don't read it unless I have to, you know.
Can we just,
They have a funny
Leave it
schedule.
up to
So,
can we just leave it up to John to decide then, or do we gotta specify?
we probably ought to authorize it. It doesn't matter.
I think years past, it's like $16
It's
for the
under
notices.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
I just, as we're getting close to getting this done for the August meeting, I've got all the contacts and everything already with the
Yeah, I'd
legal
rather be
record
safe than sorry.
already in place, because miss it, then we got other issues and stuff on there. So I would prefer just on this one, seeing it's a minimal cost anyway, to do that is make sure we get it, and then, look at what the post is on there to get that done.
I should have said legally, you're fine as long as you publish in an appropriate newspaper, but you gotta publish.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, then you gotta
Yeah.
publish.
Yeah.
And is it okay if we publish the other deal and then one and this, it's all good? Alright. I don't think that's okay.
Yeah, let's, I'm good with doing what we've done in the past. Do we need a motion on that? No, I don't think so, because we're just doing it.
Yeah. Then the only other would be, all the other expenses I've kind of kept the same as what they've been. We've been under overall the past couple of years and what our overall expenditures are, so that's added to the carryover, so I don't know if there's any other major expenses other than the capital improvements that we talked about that would increase into the other line items.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that we've been missing.
With that, then I'll prepare the budget hearing notice, using the revenue neutral rate for, I guess our next meeting will be August 4th.
It's correct.
Right, okay.
7 PM.
Yeah. Do the budget hearing at 7 PM and then move to the regular meeting after that.
Sounds good.
Okay, anything else?
That's all I have for tonight.
Okay. We'll move on to the approval of bills presented for payment. Any concerns? Make a motion to approve the bills as presented for payment. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Alright, just gonna do that. And then, are we gonna wait to pay, USLI till next meeting, since we have a meeting on the fourth?
I'd rather
It's
go
usually,
ahead, go ahead and do it.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's, in talking with Jolene, she said we can do check, we can do,
well, they'll let us do it online too,
with credit card. Yeah.
you just wanna do it online?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have access to that, okay? See, this thing just.
So just have record that.
Yeah.
This one's actually stuck.
Or no, there should have been a street on it.
Yeah, you would've thought. I think your other ones have strips on them.
Okay, I'll take it. Go on.
Xander, I get a piece. Take.
I gotta fix the.
He's gonna fix his address.
So,
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can pass that to John.
No.
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you moved that at the last second.
Yeah, well,
That's what happened.
Usually Charlie Brown.
Right.
Okay, moving on to new business, like, the flip phone that we have has, it's kaput. So, I think we're gonna need another one.
New flip phone. No longer work.
Track phone lasted 5 years.
Fuck phone, huh? What do we have today then? And what do we use that for?
Because we have a phone number on our website, in case someone wants to call and talk to anybody.
That's it.
So, yeah, I think it's less than $100, something.
Seems like they should get a free phone with, who's the plan with?
Track phone.
Track?
Yeah, it's, you can get them at Walmart.
It's like a
Oh,
prepaid service.
Oh, one of those. A burner.
We're fancy.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah, I did talk to the lady, customer service, we can use the same number, we just need to purchase. I don't know where to take it, you can get it fixed, if that was that expensive.
I don't think we paid much for it to begin with.
Well, the repair would be going on, everybody's saying.
So, I'll make a motion to, get a new track flip phone, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Are you,
To go by the phone?
Yeah.
Sure.
Um,
Just at like Walmart, I guess.
yeah, that's what it is. And you can touch base with Lee if you need more information on the type of. If you have any concerns or questions, it's call.
Okay. And then transferring over our current plan, does that,
Yeah, I think you just call customer service and they'll do that.
What do we pay? What do we pay for the plan?
It's like $100 a year or something.
Oh, for a year?
Yeah, we just get really great.
yeah,
Which those minutes will transfer over to the info. Alrighty, any other new business? Okay. I will, make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:35. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for reminding Berlin Mutual. There we go, getting another year, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I was gonna mention,
We're setting the
the
standard.
Drainage District has a Gmail account, right, for email services?
no,
No? Doesn't Drainage at gmail.com?
oh, sorry, we do,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So with that, you can get a free Google Voice account and you can transfer numbers into it. And then that can route to whatever phone you want, or somebody leaves a voicemail, it can email it to the whole group if you wanted, or just to you, or you can designate how that all routes.
We were looking at that previously before we went track.
Oh, okay. So
Um,
advantage to track
and-
of that.
So yeah, part of it is, it's not, so the Gmail account is my account
You too.
essentially.
Oh,
So
So when I
vacation
came
went really
here,
good?
there's no
Yeah, good.
Merriam Drainage District Gmail, so I just created one.
Yeah.
All right.
So it was kind of, I don't know, we
Yeah.
were gonna do it and then we decided not to do that. Cause we originally had set it up and then they decided to move with the track phone, cause it's just easier.
Yeah, and there's not like a guarantee that Google Voice will stick around.
See you all
I mean, in
next
some
month.
ways it's free, it's
Thank
kind
you.
of a risk.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Oh,
That
good.
it? I think we're done.
It's only whatever's cheapest, because it's used so much.
Oh, yeah.
well, Google Voice is free,
Yeah, Google Voice.
that's
is
why I'm
free.
saying that.
Right.
Yeah, but Vonage is still around, aren't they? You guys heard of Vonage?
I don't know.
Vonage, yeah.
I've heard about it.
They were one of the first IP phone providers, like 20-some years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
And they did this same sort of thing, like voicemail to email with transcriptions. You don't have to have a physical device, you can if you want, they'll mail it to you, you can plug it in and, you can plug in like a rotary phone to it and it'll work. But you can answer it via email, you know? If it's mostly via voicemail, it's how those contacts come in, and then you return the call. Vonage is a paid service with a contract that does the same thing. I don't know how much it costs though, might be more than.
Do they not sell all the information in the phone? That's the question I get.
Yeah, that's a good question, yeah. Google, I have the same concern about Google, because I use Google.
Oh,
for
it's a
stuff.
huge, I have a friend that's
Yeah.
been in computer business for years, and in and out, he's owned a software development company, and he said, well, the only problem with all Google products, he said, I'm not sure where their servers are, but I guarantee their backup servers are in China and or India. He said, I guarantee it's not secure.
Yeah, they have two different tiers of services. They have the public tier, just like gmail.com addresses, and then they have a private tier, which is when you bring your own domain. So Merriam Drainage District has their own domain name too, right? For the website.
We do, yeah.
I have chrome.org, for example.
Yeah.
And I actually use Google services on chrome.org, and it's a paid contract, and the terms of the contract keep the data in the US. It has like, that it won't be used for advertising, things like that. It's only $12 a month plan, but.
That's worth it.
Yeah, but it is a legal contract between me and Google on how they will use my.
I'm not sure they honor it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
a whole other, it's kind of a fish, yeah.
Yeah, cause isn't that how DuckDuckGo got started?
Yeah. Similar services.
They don't more. Yeah,
Right.
hide your
Yeah.
stuff.
And then I use Brave sometimes too for search. I'm trying to wean myself off of Google for exactly that sort of reason. I don't necessarily trust everything they do, but boy, it works and it works well and it's cheap.
That's the problem.
So.
It's
Yeah,
not cheap.
I know, I
It's
know.
too good to be true.
Yeah.
No, I know
For-
about that stuff, I was in this conversation.
phone?
with a friend of mine. He said,
No, for
Get a Gmail
The
account.
resolution.
Send some of your friends.
He's gonna send, he has to finish, he has to
Is the switches
update it.
from the legal record.
Right.
Yeah, well, they-
And
they're
then
open.
he's
They do
gonna
that.
send it to
That-
me.
That's not a
I'm
secret.
gonna send it to you via
And,
Adobe.
Okay,
For lawyers.
that's gonna be where I
Oh, yeah.
can just click it or?
Yep, mhm.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah.
every-
And then it'll come straight back to
I
me.
do have a signature pin, so I can get it.
Okay.
The likelihood.
And then I can just shoot it right back
Inadvertent
to
or
you.
intentional
Right.
breach is great.
And
So if the problem
then
is-
I'll send it to, I guess, the Johnson County Post.
Give you
I'll figure
signal.
the whole thing out.
I have,
It's
Okay.
it's an encrypted secure messaging app, you can go, it's meant for phone, from phone to phone, it's like.
And the other item, yeah, the
There's that, and
insurance.
there's the email that's on
got
called PGP.
Yeah, I have the
approval
card,
on that.
I have the
Yes.
card, so, and you signed
PGP
it,
is
so.
technically on your plan.
I'll pay that, and then the phone,
Yeah, there's PGP and TPG,
do
they
you want
both
me to
the
meet
same.
up with you?
No, PGP you pay for,
with the
TPG
phone?
is not paid for,
Um,
but they both use the same.
Before the next
encryption
meeting,
systems,
or
they're both
what
very
is,
secure.
what is your timeline?
Problem is nobody uses
Is it like broken,
Even
like
I
doesn't
work
even
in IT
function,
security.
or?
I think it's
If somebody
PGP.
calls, I can answer it,
It's
but I
just
gotta
more of a headache than.
be with the phone. But
they're just.
what happened was,
Get in.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know what happened, but everything
Signal's
on
not
it
bad
is
for like a text
backwards.
messaging replacement, and it has
So you can't
guaranteed level.
read
Oh, well,
any
it's
text
not legally guaranteed,
messages,
just your
any
contract,
alerts,
but
it's all
the source code is open.
What
and
I've
it's
had to
well
do is
understood,
take it
and it's
and
very secure.
Put a
shine
mirror?
it into a mirror to read it. And I'm like, this is, I'm not
Yeah,
doing this.
The photos and like the lines that are
Yeah.
eroding, I guess, over the
I
years.
don't know what caused
Is that
it.
on the website anymore?
I guess when you get the phone, just shoot me a text and I'll
put stuff like that on the website.
get you something.
Okay,
Do you have the email that Steve is gonna
I'll
answer?
try to get that.
for? He's gonna
I
ask
should be able
before
to
I
get
can
it,
give him my
so
card.
maybe
Yeah.
over the weekend.
You know,
Just trying to.
yeah, it's not urgent.
His email, see that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Crone, how's your campaign?
Oh, going good, keeping me busy.
Good.
And running that bank accounts down, it's expensive. It is, not easy. You weren't kidding. So,
Yeah.
you sat in these shoes, what, 4 years ago, or is it 8?
Oh, I think,
8.
yeah. Yeah, it's, but it's a necessary thing.
Yeah.
If you wanna be serious about it.
Yeah, yeah. I've been going to all the events.
Have a good month, have a good month.
All right.
All right, thank you. I went to Flags for Freedom and I had logoed fans, the American flag and then my info at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people liked those. I only got one scowl. I was surprised. I thought I would surely get more than one scowl.
Yeah,
But there's like 100, maybe 200 people there. It was big, and everybody was happy and staying cool in the heat with the fans.
Are you, I haven't been keeping track, but are they doing the,
The forums.
yeah, the forum for the post? Is it the post that does it?
I'm sure they will. They haven't contacted me yet,
Okay,
but I'm sure there will be one. Probably in the Merriam Library.
okay. Yeah, that'd be a good place for it.
Yeah, I don't. I've been following everything in Merriam for so long. I'd be surprised when they throw me a curveball.
Right, right.
Yes.
Sroth, S-R-O-T-H. At Benish.com. Benish is B as in boy, E-N-E-S-C-H.
Okay, I know I've seen Danish before. They did the Blue Jeans account or something years ago, right? You guys met on Blue Jeans?
He was doing that with the, remote ones during COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah.
Cool.
I've forgotten that, yeah.
It'd be neat someday if that remote access becomes more common, if that can be like an official recording of the meetings without having to buy like separate dedicated recording equipment. We're having some Yahoo set up a tripod in the end of the room. You know, if the meeting room happened to have a camera that was compatible with Zoom or whatever you use, usually those meeting things have an auto record button. Even if nobody's attending remotely, that produces a reasonable recording of what goes on. So, just a thought. But it's a good positive move in the right direction. I'm glad to hear it from you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for the cookies.
Yeah, you go.
Cookies
You
from-
want another cookie? Take
Why
one,
not?
go.
I'm trying to keep it down to 2. so-
Yeah.
Golden Park
is not gonna give them their special use permit. Well, the bigger uproar was when it went drunk, people wanting to go in the building next door.
Oh, yeah.
And then the collateral damage was happening.
Spider web up there.
They said, what about these buses parked here?
And there's Merriam Drainage District, Merriam. So they have this meeting once a month. It's been going on for decades, and they maintain the Turkey Creek Streamway, the banks, the basin of it, all the concrete work you might see in the Turkey Creek Streamway. So a small but important group of folks that do a good job for our community and some of the surrounding areas too. See you later.